The last 2 weeks gave us two unlikely heroes, Mr. Reed, who blundered into the bad guy and captured him by accident, and Sheldon the bird, who ate the superpowered caterpillar. If you want to try something that'll make you question a lot of your life choices, just compose a sentence like that one. As we open, Reed and Trent are watching footage of what looks like some kind of detective show. Actually, it's footage from one of their agents just before the men in this syndicate-owned car identified him and shot him. They desperately need to follow that car to a big syndicate meeting because Mr. Big is going to be there. The job is to identify and arrest him and break up the syndicate. But no ordinary men can do the job. They just saw proof of that. Reed calls a purple alert because this calls for action. A-C-T-I-O-N. I did the stupid gag so you don't have to listen to Reed do it for the dozenth time. He says Mr. Terrific can do anything.
Oh, never mind. I'll do it myself.
Except blow up a balloon. They use that type of joke a lot. I mean a lot. Like it's almost the only one they have. That may be part of the reason the show failed so badly, because you can't really go anywhere with a character like that. If you give them a little more muscle, you don't have the character anymore. It's a lot like Frank Burns on MASH. All the cast members said Larry Linville, who played Frank, had the hardest job on the whole show because his character had to stay static. The moment you introduced a little humanity, he wasn't Frank Burns anymore. It's the same with Stanley. You can only do the weakling gags for so long, and then you have to take the character somewhere he hasn't been before. But if we do that, he's not Stanley Beamish anymore. He becomes an ordinary guy who takes pills to do extraordinary things. That's not the show. And that's probably why before long there was no show. As that book title says, if you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else, like on a cutting room floor. Reed and Trent appear at the gas station and give Stanley his assignment and his pills. Then he's off to follow that car. Trent is still the fall guy, as you can see. Stanley locates the car and follows it to the meeting where he finally discovers the infamous Mr. Big.
Is everyone here?
Yes, sir.
Shall we go in?
Right this way, Mr. Big. You're Mr. Big?
No, I'm not going to do any kind of a big what joke. She sends the goons after him and Stanley has to make a hasty exit. There's our lesson for today. If you're ever in that kind of predicament, aim for the discolored part of the brick wall and hope for the best. Too bad Stanley dropped something in his haste.
Good for one free lube job at Hal and Stanley's garage. Boys, look for him there. And if he's not around, get the free lube job.
I am definitely not taking that bait. Stanley didn't get any pictures of Mr. Big, so Reed comes up with a facial construction machine.
Curling gently around the face. Full red lips.
Stan,
Pert little turned up nose.
Stanley, wait, what are you talking about, pert little nose, red lips? What, Mr. Big is a woman?
Right.
Sort of like the software we have today, Stanley puts in different feature slides until it's just right and he says, that's her. That's Mr. Big. Now we just have to find her.
Very simple. Just come with us.
Okay, that was easy enough. Not exactly what we had in mind, but she's not too concerned about these guys, but she wants to know where the funny man in the goggles and the cape is. Hal, of course, tries to work his charm, thus setting himself up as the dumb one who can be easily seduced into telling. While Mr. Big is doing that and discovering that Hal knows precisely nothing, the others are trying to find some kind of hidden passage out of the room.
Sick with doorways. Sure glad the boys back in Washington can't see me now. Nothing.
He climbs up out of a well outside, then runs home to get his booster pills. Falling into that dank well seems to have given him a cold. Instantly. And his pills don't cure it. He flies back and takes care of the goons. Just then his pill runs out and he gets ready to take the other one.
Right here. Watch out!
Let me guess, the second dip in the well cures his cold. He takes the pill and drops back down into the well. Hey, do you have any idea what that trapdoor cost?
I surrender.
I'd suggest you do likewise, Mr. Big.
Don't be silly. I'm warning you. One wrong move and your friends will pay.
Stanley, do something.
Just a second. I will.
That's it for Mr. Big and her entourage. We still have some time to fill, so in the epilogue, Stanley sneezes again and sends Reed's car flying across the estate. Because we still had some time to fill. Let's switch over to Captain Nice. Mayor Uncle Fred is dedicating a new bridge that just happens to be named after him. He calls on Big Town's oldest citizen to do the honors.
No. Hit the bridge.
Eh?
Hit the bridge.
That seems like an appropriate thing to happen to Uncle Fred's monument to himself.
All right, everybody, don't panic. Don't panic!
Who's panicking?
I am.
Laugh track, ha 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 ha. The whole thing is threatening to come down, so Captain Nice has to make an appearance.
Captain Nice.
Oh, hello there. Say, can you hold that thing up there long enough for these people to get off safely?
Of course. It doesn't weigh more than a couple of tons.
How long can you stay like that?
I'm not sure. What did you have in mind?
Well, I was thinking in terms of a permanent position.
Captain Nice took him up on the proposition and went from superhero to bridge support. His mother brought him his meals and his potion every day for the next 30 years.
Just what we need. An investigation.
What kind of material did you use in that bridge anyway? It was supposed to last at least until we got paid.
These are the guys who built the bridge. They used substandard materials and are just waiting for a big check from the city for the job, then they plan to disappear. But considering that the bridge collapsed the first day, I question whether that check is really in the mail. Carter, meanwhile, has been analyzing the cement from the failed bridge and he's discovered something important.
Well, it's composed of about 70% regular cement, but the remaining 30% is just junk. I mean, they've included wood pulp, sand, sulfur, and a half a dozen other cheap materials, including oatmeal.
And Carter's got the evidence right there. Send a few cops to arrest these guys, get a better contractor to rebuild the bridge, problem solved. No, Mayor Uncle Fred confronts them instead.
I mean oatmeal. I suppose next you'll be telling us the highway you built was paved with how many grits?
Who told you?
They try several bribes, but Fred isn't buying. Then they change tactics.
We are not going to let you stand in the way of that $1 million.
Now look here. Don't tell me you'd kill me for it.
We would kill you for it.
I asked you not to tell me that.
Third time in 4 episodes. Somebody really likes that joke. I have to wonder why. They tie him up and plan to hold him until their check arrives, force him to countersign it so they can cash it, then kill him.
You fellas will never get away with this, you know. At this very moment, the people of Big Town are turning this city upside down looking for their missing leader. City Hall must be in a panic.
Oh, anything in the afternoon paper about Mayor Finney's disappearance?
Mayor who?
His name is Mayor Uncle Fred, thank you. Down in the lab.
What's that?
Turbine hydrophosphochlorate.
Oh, I just hate it.
So do I.
I mean, if there's anything I can't stand, it's terpene hydrophosphochlorate. It's disgusting.
Yes, it is.
No, they're never going to tell us what it is. Carter has a cold, so I'm guessing it's some kind of cough medicine, but that's only a guess.
I'm glad we have something in common.
Sergeant Kane, I asked you down here because I want to tell you something.
Really?
And I want it to be just between the two of us.
Go ahead. Tell me.
Well, it's not easy to get the words out.
Go on, you can do it. Tell me.
I think the mayor has been kidnapped.
Oh, Carter, you always say the most romantic things. Carter wants to go down to the contractor's place and check it out, and Candy says she'll go with him. But first, his mother wants him to stop by home. And we do not disobey or postpone mother. One never knows what she might put in our food.
Carter, Look me straight in the eye. Have I been a demanding mother? Have I ever told you what to do?
Well, to be honest...
Don't sass.
Carter refuses to become Captain Nice because he has no idea where to go or what to do. He heads back to the lab.
Oh, dear, he forgot his formula. Well, I guess it's up to me. I'll drink this stuff and fly to my brother's aid. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel the power coursing through my body already. Oh, Fred. Fred, don't worry. Wherever you are, your sister is coming. It didn't work. I can't fly.
Neither can I, dear.
Has she never seen him change? She should know it requires a hiccup to be effective. Meanwhile, the bad guys have gotten their check. Now they need the mayor to sign it.
You can kick me, you can burn me with cigarettes, you can tear my nails out one by one, but I'm not signing that check. I said nothing about slapping.
I know what we're trying to do here, and to be honest, with a different actor it might have worked. But his delivery kills the joke. That happens a lot. Quite often I can't decide whether the problem is with the script or with him. Probably both. But for whatever reason, what should be workable jokes just miss the mark. The actor's name is Liam Dunn. He also played the Reverend in Blazing Saddles, so I went back and watched some of those scenes to see how he did there. And honestly, I think he's the problem. His deliveries in Blazing Saddles were just as awkward as they are here because he doesn't seem to be able to get the full effect out of a punchline. You can kick me, you can burn me with cigarettes, you can tear my nails out one by one, but I'm not signing that check. I said nothing about slapping. That one works, and not just because I did it, but because there's an actual response for a beat followed by a delivery that thoroughly negates the tough guy talk from the previous line. Dunn sounds like he's reading from a rule book and he gave the line way too fast. It doesn't look like a reaction to being slapped, it looks like making sure you get the line in any way you can. Carter and Candy go to the bad guy's office posing as clients, but one of the guys recognizes them and pulls a gun.
Tie him up. Bring them both outside. I'll handle him.
Yes, he actually puts his coat on a hanger in that dumpster, then just lays it aside. The coat gag wasn't all that great to begin with, and forcing it in here wasn't a good idea. We seem to be trying to establish some running gags, but if you're going to do that, make sure they're good ones. It's too bad for Carter that the bad guy saw him go in there and got an idea.
They tried to kill me with a forklift.
We're in luck. It's Captain Nice.
And since we know Carter Nash was the one who went into that thing, we now know who Captain Nice really is. Do you honestly think anybody in this show is bright enough to put that together? Of course, a mere forklift isn't enough to challenge Captain Nice, so they abandon it and run away.
We'll get the bazooka and blow his head off.
Oh, heavens, their whole building collapsed.
They probably built it out of cornflakes.
They use substandard materials for their own building? Candy says leave them under the rubble, they deserve it. Captain Nice says no, they're entitled to a fair trial.
He's right, but don't worry. They'll be tried, convicted, and sent to the state pen.
How many years do you think they'll get?
Quite a few, but I doubt if the penitentiary can hold them more than a few days.
Why?
Shall we say it together? They built it. All in all, these weren't bad. Mr. Terrific had some good action, some good jokes, and very little screen time for Hal. Captain Nice had a fair bit of padding that I cut out, but that's standard fare for both shows. We're still overloaded with reused gags disguised as running gags, and we're discovering that Mayor Uncle Fred could have been cast better. Alice Ghostly and What's-His-Face behind the newspaper are fun. It was a good week. That's one. Next time, we'll see if these writers can count higher than one.